Hey guys, Jayden here. Villagers moving out is a stable mechanic in Animal Crossing games. However, unlike previous Animal Crossing games, you can kind of control who gets to leave, and villagers cannot move out without your permission. Thing is, there are always villagers that you hate and they never seem to leave. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make the thought bubble to land on a specific villager and how to increase the chance of happening. This guide will not cover how campsite villagers works since they have a different way of making someone leave. This includes amiibo villagers. Before getting into how to make specific villagers leave, we first need to talk about how the move out thought bubble works. It's a little complicated, so here's the TLDR. The move out thought bubble lands on a random villager at the start of the day and will stay on that villager for the entire day. Villagers with lower friendship level are more likely to ask to leave. There are factors in which villagers cannot ask to move. This guide would use these factors to your advantage and help make the thought bubble to land on a specific villager. Just a bit of a warning, this guide requires time traveling. If you're not a time traveler, you can still use this guide, but instead of changing the system time, you need to actually wait in real time. To make the move out thought bubble appear, you need to wait for at least 15 days since your last villager moved out, or 5 days if you've rejected a villager's move out request. But to maximize the chance of thought bubble appearing, you need to time travel 30 days forward. This will give an 80% chance of thought bubble appearing, assuming your island has 10 animal villagers. Normally you need to wait for a day for the thought bubble to land on someone else, and it's possible that the thought bubble can land on the same villager multiple days in a row. Even Fire Emblem has better RNG than this nonsense. Here's a tip from me: when you see a thought bubble near the plaza or villagers' houses, go inside the building and back out. You cannot make a move out thought bubble disappear this way. If it does, use a reaction near them and make it appear again. Don't worry, it will not be a move out thought bubble. So if the thought bubble lands on the wrong villager, change the system time to another day and try again. From version 1.8 onwards, time traveling backwards before 5 AM counts as 1 day towards the move out algorithm. As such, if you're a time traveler, it is better to time travel backwards 1 day at a time to move the thought bubble so you don't have to deal with Isabel's announcements and additional loading screens. Here's the important part: if you time travel for 30 days, you need to save after changing time so that the game registers that it's been 30 plus days. When you time travel 1 day at a time, there is no need to save. If you accidentally talk to the villager with the thought bubble, closing the game without saving is always an option. As I've said before, there are factors in which villagers cannot ask to move. These factors are from the internet, plus my own findings. You can manipulate some factors, but not others. Here are the factors that don't increase the chance of moving out. You can't necessarily manipulate them, and you have no choice but to time travel to another day. Villagers cannot ask to move if you haven't talked to them yet. Just say hello to them just once to make any thought bubble appear. Villager cannot ask to move during birthdays, event days, or KK days, the latter of which are usually Saturdays. They cannot have thought bubbles these days in general. Villagers cannot ask to move if they are assigned for DIY. The game picks a villager to ask to move out first, and then 3 villagers for DIY. Villagers cannot move if they have lost item belonging to them. The reason is the same as before, but with an additional villager. Villagers cannot ask to move out if they have a thought bubble that isn't a move out thought bubble. The move out thought bubble can only be the first thought bubble on that villager on any day. As a reminder, you can go inside a building and back out to find out if it's a move out thought bubble or not. Villager cannot ask to move out if they're sick. This is the worst case scenario. In this case, the game is trying to force you to raise friendship level with that villager, which you don't want. And the sickness can last for up to 3 days if not cured. You need to time travel for 3 separate days and save after every day, which makes this process much more tedious than it already is. Villager cannot move out if they are the last one to move in. This condition prevents the last villager to ask to move out due to insufficient friendship levels. Unfortunately, you need to move out someone else before you can move out the target villager. This is why it is not recommended to have more than 8 permanent villagers. A few things to mention. Ignoring villagers, talking to them too much, fencing them, and complaining to Isabel do not increase the chance of a villager moving out. But I don't consider them as factors that don't increase the chance of moving out, because you can just simply avoid them. Now for the main event. Here are the factors that raise the chance of moving out thought bubble landing on the specific villagers. By making other villagers unable to move out, the chance of thought bubble landing on the target villager is increased. Each factor can be manipulated to your advantage. Villagers cannot ask to move out if you've recently rejected their move out request. If a non-target villager has a move out thought bubble and you reject the request, they will not ask again until you respond to another move out request. In this case, reject the move out request outright and time travel 30 days forward. You've time traveled this far, so why not do it till the end? The damage is done anyway, just remember to save after that. Villagers cannot ask to move out if they're in the process of moving. Simply have your island representative hold on to a villager's moving kit by asking Tom Nook to move that villager's house. They can never ask to move as long as you have the kit in your inventory. And don't worry, you do get your 50k bells back should you return the moving kit back to Tom Nook. Villagers cannot ask to move out if they have birthdays within 7 days. There are 2 things you can do. Time travel to a few days before the birthdays of non-target villagers, and don't do the same thing with the target villager. These are all the steps that you can do right now. If all of those steps don't work, peace was never an option. As I've said before, villagers with lower friendship levels are more likely to ask to move. I don't want to promote violence here, but you gotta do what you need to do. As a last resort, you can hit the target villager with a net, or push them until they're angry. Each time you trigger the conversation by doing this, you lose 3 friendship points with that villager. Some people say that this counts as an interaction, which increases friendship points. Just so we are clear on this, the 1 friendship point by talking to villagers only triggers when a jingle is played. If you interact with the villager by bullying them, you don't trigger the jingle, so you shouldn't get the 1 friendship point for talking to them like this. If you have a high friendship with the target villager, it's going to take a while to lower the friendship level. If the move out thought bubble does not land on the target villager, you probably didn't bully them enough. To take it 1 step further, raise the friendship level with non-target villagers. Even so, it's still not guaranteed that the thought bubble will land on the target villager. If you've missed a 98% accuracy hit before, you know how that feels. There you have it, everything you need to know about villagers moving. New Horizons has so much freedom, and this is how you should feel right now. If you find this useful, be sure to like and share the video and subscribe to my channel. With that, I'll see you next time. Bye.